Hello. Thanks for clicking on our faces and joining us once again for another TV show review and breakdown. So it's been a
That's
while
right.
since we were last here. Ironically enough, I believe we were also talking about another Superman show.
That's right.
So,
That is true. We
Vic,
were
let us
talking
know
about
what
another
have you been
Superman show.
watching in the meantime?
Oh
Yeah.
wow, what is
So,
this?
what have
Okay,
you been
that's
watching?
interesting. What have I been watching in the meantime? Well,
Oh,
actually, I've just been watching movies so that we can do movie reviews because I haven't had the opportunity to watch any shows, to tell you the truth. So now that we came back to Superman, the fact
mhm.
that we started doing that show, and we got into it, and we have clips of it, and like, the dynamic of this whole thing is different. I'm excited to do it again, because it certainly isn't made for me. I'll tell you that
Okay.
much. It's not made for my generation. But that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm certainly enjoying it because, yeah, this is a good time.
All
This is
right.
certainly a good time.
Well,
That's enough
I've been
ramble.
watching a bunch of shows lately. I've been watching Bridgerton, the first half. That was really good.
Oh
I'm
yeah, you've been doing a whole bunch of stuff. Wait, I saw. Did you do Squid Games?
no, actually, that was a minute ago. It was a repost. If you follow us on Instagram,
Oh, okay,
I reshared a Squid Games reel that we did. Hilarious. I can't wait for season two
mm,
of that to come out as well. But here we
okay.
are on season two of My Adventures with Superman. And I feel like we jumped a bit in time. Is it just me? Because in episode one, Lois is like texting Clark that she loves him and everything else. I say, hold on, what? I don't remember this being like,
Well, I do remember the secret being revealed and
yes,
her knowing that he was Superman.
yes.
Yeah, I do remember that, but the way that he got there, no, I don't remember. I think
I
that
don't remember the love bombing and like all the, already they're in love. Then they just start talking.
I
But
mean, this Superman is soft though. Like the
mm,
Superman is,
mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
he's very Clark Kent, like all
Yes,
the way. He's like, 75 Clark. Yeah.
yes.
I mean, is that what's sexy today? Like,
I guess, everyone loves like a good, emotional man, like a man who can, is in tune with his emotions, shall I say. And that's Clark. He seems like a giver. And, we love that for Lois. And it's almost as if she's going for the exact opposite of her dad. And we'll talk about it because, yeah,
that
we
makes a
get
lot
some
of
signs.
sense.
That
Okay.
is. So
Ooh.
in
Hmm.
this first episode, we kind of open up with Clark having like a dream or like a flashback of him chasing his younger self and kind of dealing with, I guess, his childhood traumas of not being, the real son of the Clarks and, kind of trying to identify who he is. And we get to meet his real dad again in this episode.
Hmm.
Um, and in previous episodes, I believe he was revealed, but he wasn't like speaking English. He was speaking like Kryptonian or whatever.
Hmm.
In this episode, they mentioned that okay, well, his translators had an opportunity to get running, and now he can speak to Clark in English.
Hmm.
And it was during this episode as well that it was revealed we got like a little drop of Supergirl, like a name drop, right? So she's in this universe. I don't
Yeah.
know when she'll be like revealed, but we know she will because when I was looking at or trying to find like images for a thumbnail, I believe this to be Supergirl at the bottom right. I could be wrong, but it looked like it could be her, right? That bottom right corner with the blonde
Well,
hair.
that does make sense. I mean, I'm just shocked that they're introducing her already so quickly. Like they move
Mm-hmm.
in super fast. Like this type of thing would have been like season 5.
Right.
You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Like, and but all of a sudden, okay, they're mentioning her and they're doing it just real quick. All right, I got a feeling like this is gonna be done by season 4.
I feel like this show, all in all, has moved rather quickly, even with the reveal
Mm-hmm.
of him being Superman to
Mm-hmm.
Lois. I think we
Mm-hmm.
talked about this last time. And I wonder, is it because maybe they aren't like renewed for multiple seasons? Maybe they're just, renewed one season at a time. So they're like, all right, let's just get as much as we can just in case we don't get the renewal. Like, I don't know what it is.
I feel like this show, if you broke it in half, could be on TikTok.
What? You know what? TikTok does have those 10-minute uploads. You
Mm-hmm.
could, you might, yeah, because
This really could be story time with Superman type show.
if you cut off the intro and you cut off the credits, it can fit
Mm-hmm.
the tick for sure.
Mm-hmm. And
So
it's given TikTok vibes. That's what this is giving.
it's definitely given, what's it called, like Generation Z, right?
Yes,
Um,
very much so. And like I said in the beginning, that's not necessarily a bad thing because for old people like me, watching something all of this stuff in 22 minutes, it's not bad.
mhm.
I certainly can appreciate that.
I love me a good little 20-minute, little show, just enough to give you to wet your palate, and it's very consumable. You can still get other
Mm-hmm.
things done while you're watching the show and enjoying it. I love
Precise.
the fact that this is like a 20-minute, like boop boop boop, right, in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that's also, I feel, because it's an anime, and animes are
The way you described it is very tender. Like,
boop boop boop, in and out.
yeah, it's just crazy.
Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. That's what it
Facts.
is.
That's what Superman is about right
Yeah. But we did have a little bit more information about Jimmy. He's doing well. It seems he's the manager of his own department over at the Daily Planet. He's got his little interns now, his own little interns, and I want to say these are the same little kids that were in season one. The one that was like having their own little news outlet in the city. I think those are those
now.
very same kids. So
Yep.
they're paying it forward. Hello, thanks for watching.
Hey, what's up?
And also in this first episode, we see when Clark is talking to his daddy, his real daddy from Krypton, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Slade Wilson, was Deathstroke. I want to say that's supposed to be Deathstroke. And this other character gets introduced, and this is like a big, bulky, like powerhouse kind of a character. I don't know, I can't remember his name, but I'm not familiar with that character in the comic books or any other iteration of Superman. So I want to say he's maybe a lesser known character or maybe original to the series, not sure.
Mm.
But he mentioned that they used part of Superman's DNA to enhance this character. And I'm like, okay, it's interesting because that seems to be kind of like a running theme in these Superman shows. Because in Lois and Clark, or I'm sorry, Clark and Superman and Lois, excuse me, there was that whole thing about the DOA having some of his DNA. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that's going to come into play there as well.
I mean, they gotta find new ways of promoting Superman. So it makes sense, you bring back some of the old, but then you got to make things a little new. So
Okay.
the way that they're doing it is certainly interesting because it's not regular.
Mm-hmm.
It's not normal. I mean, at least to the people that are big Superman fans and have been Superman fans for the past 50 years. So this is a great way to introduce Superman to the younger generation now.
But I got a question for you, because something
Yeah.
happens in this episode, and I'm like, is this going to come into play? So, Deathstroke and this other character, they come into the spaceship thing where Superman is, and a fight happens between him and the powerhouse guy. And during the fight, it's a little piece of like kryptonite is revealed. And so they try to get that piece, and it ends up falling to the ground. Jimmy gets it. He puts it in like this little capsule thing, right? But he doesn't get rid of it. He doesn't destroy it. So it's like he still has it. And it makes me wonder, is Jimmy going to go through a villain arc possibly? Is this where this is kind of leading?
I mean, you never know. But look, Or maybe he's just saving it just to have some type of leverage, like on some Batman shit. Maybe
But
Jimmy's
he
gonna be
knows that
Batman.
his best friend is Superman, so why is
No,
he
no,
saving?
wait a minute. Maybe he's gonna be Batman. You know why? He's already rich. Hold up,
Not
but wait a minute.
Batman.
No, wait a second now.
What?
Remember at the end, the last season, all of a sudden he sold something and then he was super rich now
Mhm.
at the end. He might end up being even richer and richer and richer, right? So
Jimmy's
he could
black.
end up being like Batman, and that could be one of the first things. Hey, imagine a black Batman. You never had that. Come on now.
I think
This
technically in
is
the comic books there is like a black iteration of that. I
hey,
think
you
it
see
covered like
that?
most of his face or something.
You
I
see
don't
that?
know.
If this thing goes straight left field, that could be, you
Oh,
know what? I'm just using my imagination, clearly.
okay.
But but that could definitely be something because the only person I could see saving some kryptonite are two people, Lex Luthor and Batman. I don't
Okay.
see anybody else doing that. So you might be
Mhm.
right. You might be
I
right.
feel like
Maybe for
he's going to
season
have a
three.
villain arc. But so fast forward to episode 2.
You're probably gonna want to kill all the
It
interns.
opens up with Amanda Waller doing her affirmations first thing in the morning and saying, "Sis, I've made this known many times. I love this character, be it in this movie or in Suicide Squad or wherever. One of my favorite characters. She's all about getting the job done. What happens. Casualties, be damned, right?
Facts. She's all
Um,
about leverage.
yeah. And so we see in this episode that she has what's his name's Lois's father kind of in capture. She's already framed him for the stuff that happened in season 1, or at least not framed him, but kind of led him down the path of doom, kind of sabotaged him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was during this episode that we see that Lois has been, of course, trying to contact or, you know, wondering where her father is. And they
Mm-hmm.
go to kind of rescue him in this episode. Now, when Amanda Waller comes in with her crew, she has Deathstroke, and she also has this other character. And I'm like, is this supposed to be Ghost Rider, the guy with the flaming skull,
You
or
see,
who?
that's the thing. Like that's what I was talking about sooner. Like that kind of character I've never seen before. So I got a feeling they're just gonna come out of with people out of left field.
Mm-hmm,
That because like you're right, that does look like Ghost Rider. Maybe it
mm-hmm.
is, but I don't think that's a part. Is Ghost Rider DC?
That's what I'm trying to remember. I'm like, is he DC or Marvel or what?
Hmm. No, because the thing is that like, look, I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden they have John Cena's character pop up.
Oh Lord, Peacemaker.
Yeah, because look,
Ooh.
she's the one that like sets up all the bad guys.
Mm-hmm,
You know what
mm-hmm,
I mean? She's the one that does all of this stuff. So the fact that she is even in the show,
mm-hmm.
it just is giving me Suicide Squad vibes.
Okay.
You know what
Now
I mean? That's what I'm waiting for. Say
because
what?
this show is more angled towards younger audience, do you feel like they could even fit in Peacemaker in this show?
I still think I wonder if they're even just gonna stick it to Superman because the fact that she's in this show
Hmm.
just makes me feel like other people are gonna show up. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Not necessarily centered towards Superman. I mean, yes, you have Supergirl and you have Lex, but you don't like I feel like with her, that's the big reveal that some of the wild shit is gonna happen because she has never been in no Superman movie. She's never been in no Superman anything,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
at least from what I can remember.
Hmm.
So that's why this is like I said before, this is very Gen Z, this is very new, this is very different. And what I like about it is the storytelling. And it's fast storytelling, but it kind of at the same time being the old man in the crew, like
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like I'm thinking about Superman 1 and Superman 2 with Richard Pryor, you know what I mean? And they took their time. It took till like Superman 3 for Lois to find out that dude was Superman. You know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
we finding out in the second episode, like, okay, all
Uh,
right.
it's like
Yeah.
it's a different type of vibe, and also I wanted to highlight how this show is merging, or at least highlighting how close Metropolis is to Gotham, more so than a lot of superhero shows and movies have done outside
Mm.
of like Batman v Superman.
Oh,
Because if
wait a
we,
minute. Wait a minute. Hold up. But now that you mention that, freaking JJ, what is it? JJ? Is it really JJ? No, like I'm not. I'm out. Now I'm adding Spider Man.
Jay
Uh,
Jameson or whatever their name is.
yeah, yeah. Now
Oh,
I'm adding Spider Man. Like, look,
yeah, that's not
he's
Superman.
mentioning Vicky Vale.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you talking about Vicky Vale of all people?
Because she competition out here at the Gotham Gazette or
No.
whatever it is they was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah. They mentioned in the Gotham Gazette. They mentioned in Vicky Vale. Who else they gonna mention? If all of a sudden the Penguin shows up or the Riddler, oh my god.
You do know the Penguin is supposed to be getting his own like live action show. I want to say on HBO.
Oh, that's
Uh-huh.
fire.
Yeah, the
I'd
Penguin
watch
from the Batman, from the Robin Pattinson Batman
that.
movie. He's supposed to be
Mm.
getting his own show. So I would be here for a little cameo from the Penguin. But you know, I feel like we're a long ways from that, but you never know considering the pacing of the show.
Facts.
We may get a Batman crossover very soon. Who knows? Um,
Hmm.
but at the end of this episode, it was revealed that I want to say this is the same character from from season one, but when Amanda Waller was on the phone and someone was telling her, "Hey, you know, you're not the only person considered. I can consider for the lead," or pretty much kind of threatening her to say, "Hey, well, you can be replaced." I wonder who the hell could replace her, right in my mind. And by the end of the episode, we're introduced to or reintroduced to the character who was in the first season, the smart like scientist boy. He introduces himself as Lex Luthor. So they're clearly going with like the Batman v Superman skinny like tech genius type of version, like Facebook Mark
Hmm.
Zuckerberg type of Lex Luthor.
Hmm.
I thought that was interesting, and I wonder, is this the character that they were kind of hinting at could replace her? And if so, how is it that he's just being introduced at the end of the episode? What did you think about that reveal, that character reveal of him being Lex Luthor?
Well, clearly, they're using that to stick to the originals, but this Lex Luthor gave me Sheldon Cooper vibes.
Mm-hmm,
Um, like real nerdy guy that's not gonna gain his confidence until later on.
mm-hmm,
But then at the same time, real slick. Like I got a feeling he's just gonna use Amanda for whatever
mm-hmm,
he needs and then go do whatever it is that he wants to do. Because that's classic Lex Luthor.
mm-hmm.
So, but then at the end of the day, like the way that episode ended with just him saying, "Hey, this is me," that was the cliffhanger. Because anybody who knows Superman now, because of that, wants to see more.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's interesting that they chose like that particular kind of Lex identity. Like I said, it's even with the whole closeness of Gotham
Mhm.
and Metropolis, very much like Batman v Superman. And now we have a Lex Luthor that's very similar to the Batman v Superman Lex Luthor, as opposed to like the Superman, the 90s Superman Lex Luthor, who was like Dominican and big and Superman and Lois Superman, who's like this hardened prisoner, right? So
It's very different, very very different. Because
uh-huh,
like the vibes over there is that look, Lex Luthor was always some kind of a bad boy. No, you know the
mhm,
perfect example is um from Smallville. Baldy from
yeah,
Smallville. I forget his
uh-huh,
name. Oh,
yeah,
super suave, that
hmm,
kind of dude. That is who Lex Luthor always was. But
yeah,
now to have like Sheldon Cooper shaking Amanda Waller's hand, you're
hmm,
talking about two geniuses. What the hell they're gonna come up with? And this whole thing is just different. Mind you, Lois and Clark, I don't think was made for Gen Z.
yeah, okay, yeah, uh-huh,
You know what I mean? Because Lois, like, the Lois and Clark gives Lifetime vibes.
uh-huh.
So, this stuff was is TikTok vibes. So, like, yeah, this
Which
is
is
this.
odd because the CW traditionally has been always catering towards a younger audience, like
Mm-hmm.
traditionally. So it's
Hmm.
weird that it's like the more mature version. But yeah, there is something to them kind of playing up Lex's intelligence because he's always been like a super smart villain. But I feel like in other iterations they lean more on him being like this, you know, multi-billionaire evil playboy, right? And this is
Yeah,
kind of playing
but
more
we
on genius.
we we rarely get him as a teenager though, or as a young man.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know, and Superman is very, very much a young man, at least emotionally.
Hmm.
That's clear that he's young. So now you get in the young everybody.
Hmm.
You know, because mind you, like the other versions of Lois, where Lois is an adult, her father is there, but her father is not nearly as protective. He still is, but he's not nearly as protective as he is here. Why? Because Lois is a kid, and
Yeah.
so is Clark, and now so is Lex. So
Hmm.
what's exciting about this is that you get to see Lex learning from Amanda. Like I'm just stuck on those two being together
Yeah.
because I've never seen it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I mean, shout out to Gen Z because I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. And
Hmm.
I do have one more thing to say about Lex before we end it. Um, it's about, and I want to say shout out to the executive consultant because I believe he brought this up previously, and I want to say it was in relation to the newer Superman movie. Um, but whenever you have a Superman show or even a Batman show, Batman movies seemingly always have to have a Joker villain all the time, even though he has such a range in his role gallery, right?
Hmm.
And Superman, everything always has to kind of center around Lex. And is that disappointing to you as a viewer that they don't give more shine to other villains in Superman's kind of role gallery? Or are you okay with them doing Lex again?
Um. Okay. Well, see,
Because they're still like
here's the
Brainiac
thing.
and all of these
Here's
other
here's here's the
characters.
thing, though. You notice how in Lois and Clark, Lex showed up at the tail end.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it was one of those characters that was revealed later on in the series,
Yeah.
not early in the series.
Hmm.
So, you know, as far as connecting Lex to Superman, I think that'll always be smart to have it there. It just depends on when you put it. Because it's going to be one of those things where you either miss it and then get happy when it shows up, or you just take it in right away and then see who else is coming. Because
Hmm.
in the past it was always like there's been times where it was Lex first, and then Lex went and found a bunch of friends
Yeah. Hmm.
to throw around. You know what I mean? Like the Kingpin and the Sinister Six. So I don't see a world where you don't have one with the other. Just like Batman and the Joker, I really don't. I don't. I just yeah, I don't see a world without it. Or like Spider Man and Venom.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta have
All
yeah.
right. All right. Well, that's pretty much our thoughts and breakdown of episode 1 and 2 of My Adventures with Superman. Join us next week when we discuss episode 3. And
Mm-hmm.
thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, and have a great day. Goodbye.
Night, y'all.